Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're really getting into the mind of an investing legend. We're focusing on someone known for just incredible, consistent success. And it's not just about stocks, really. It's more about exploring a master's mindset. Our main source for this is a really captivating Note article by Yuki Morol. It does a fantastic job pulling back the curtain on what makes this investor Testu tick. So our mission, basically, is to unpack Testu's unique philosophy, especially his almost legendary ability to cut losses. And maybe even more interesting, his profound self-awareness, knowing exactly what he's good at and what he's not. It's about understanding the principles behind that sustained success.
Yeah, and what's so striking, I think, is how his, let's say, disciplined market approach, it really mirrors these broader principles of success in almost any field. I mean, sure, the context is stock trading, definitely, but the insights he offers about understanding yourself, mastering your craft, having the courage to stick to your own path. Those are universal lessons. It's really about spotting different kinds of exceptional talent and the mindset that drives it.
Couldn't agree more. And okay, to start things off, let's dive right into something pretty surprising Testu said himself. There's this NewsPicks video, and he was commenting on another investor, Gogatsu, who's known for really detailed analysis. Testu said, and I'm quoting this directly from Yuki Morol's article, "I want to say things like this," talking about Gogatsu's analysis, which sounded like Bass Actoris analysis, analyst. And then he added, almost like an aside, "After all, price action traders look like fools, don't they?" Now, that's quite a statement for someone so successful to make about his own style.
It absolutely is. And look, he probably said it partly tongue-in-cheek, bit of humor. But it definitely touches on a real perception within the investing world. Often, you find that analytical, fundamental-based investing, digging into balance sheets, income statements, industry trends, maybe what that Barris or balance sheet as a service analysis refers to. That's often seen as the more, let's say, sophisticated or intellectual way. While price action trading, which is super fast-paced, relies on charts, immediate market moves, it can sometimes be misunderstood, maybe seen as less rigorous or just reacting.
Right, exactly. Like one is deep thinking and the other is just reacting, impulse maybe. But Yuki Morol in the article provides such a powerful counterargument, and honestly a much more respectful one. They argue that these price action traders, they actually look more like athletes. The analogies used are great, really vivid, like an F1 racer or a baseball player. Well, so think about it for a second. Making instantaneous judgments on where things are going next, based on these incredibly high-speed price movements. That's apparently as difficult as hitting a 160-kilometer fastball. It's not foolish, it's peak performance, under immense pressure.
Precisely. And if we connect that to the bigger picture, it really is about recognizing different types of mastery, different kinds of intelligence even. What Testu does requires huge cognitive resources. It's not that he lacks analytical skill, not at all. It's that he has this unique, highly developed skill set for making rapid, intuitive decisions when the stakes are high and things are moving fast. It's like a top athlete, right? Processing tons of information in real time, anticipating, making split-second choices. A very distinct kind of expertise needs incredible focus, discipline, and almost like a sixth sense for the flow of the market.
Which leads us perfectly into Testu's, legendary loss-cutting ability. This is where that adaptability of the price action type really comes through. And it's not just us saying it. Other experts, even someone like Gogatsu, they recognize this as Testu's defining thing. Gogatsu himself said, people like Testu live by their ability to cut losses. It's not just a tactic for him. It's like core survival, the absolute bedrock of his whole strategy.
Yeah, and Testu has these famous quotes about loss cutting. They really capture his philosophy. They're so direct, I think we should read them exactly as they are in the source material. First, if you don't lose, you naturally win. Second, cutting losses is the most important thing, so I did it thinking that not being able to cut losses was death. And third, if you cut losses when you think this is bad, it's already too late. You need to cut losses even before that this is bad feeling.
Wow. Those quotes are incredibly potent, aren't they? They really hammer home the psychological challenge and the practical difficulty of actually doing that. Yeah. Cutting losses so fast, so decisively. Most people, when a trade goes against them, there's this natural urge to hope it turns around. Or you don't want to admit you were wrong, or you just freeze. Yuki Morol points out that Testu probably cuts losses even faster than those quotes suggest, almost before that conscious oh no or uh-oh moment even fully registers. It suggests something almost precognitive, an instinctual reaction, a discipline trained beyond just thought. It's not just a rule he follows, it's like a reflex. honed completely.
That idea, precognitive loss cutting, that's pretty mind-bending for investing. But the real deep dive question for us, I think, is how we can maybe integrate some of that discipline, into our own lives, not just markets. What do you think? Like, what's an immediate takeaway here? Applying this to, say, a project that's clearly failing, or a habit that's not serving you, or even just knowing when to back down in an argument.
That's exactly it. You could call it strategic abandonment. It's about recognizing those early signs, right? The subtle clues that something isn't working. Maybe it's that nagging doubt, or progress is just stalled, or something's draining your energy, and then having the discipline to actually cut bait instead of throwing more time or emotion or money after it. For anyone listening, this could be realizing, say, a hobby isn't fun anymore and just letting it go without guilt, or seeing an approach to a problem isn't working and pivoting quickly instead of just pushing harder down the wrong path. It's about protecting your future potential, really, and your peace of mind. It's incredibly difficult, though. Our brains seem wired to finish things, avoid admitting defeat. But Testu just shows the sheer power of that ruthless efficiency.
Okay, so from that ruthless discipline in cutting losses, let's shift to another key part of Testu's genius. And this one feels maybe even more counterintuitive, because you start thinking, right, given Testu's incredible focus and adaptability, wouldn't he be even stronger if he also polished up his fundamental analysis skills, added that to his arsenal? Wouldn't more tools make him truly invincible? But is more always better when you're talking about mastery?
It's a really good question. And apparently it's one Testu has a very clear answer to, according to Yuki Murrell's article. Testu will surely never polish his fundamental analysis skills. Not ever again. And the reason. It's profound. He's described as a master of objectivity, or maybe translated better as a master of self-awareness. The Japanese term was kyakanshi no tatsujin. This isn't just casually knowing your strengths and weaknesses. It's like a deep, almost clinical understanding of exactly what you can and can't do well, free from ego, free from outside pressure.
He really does embody that. And it seems to boil down to this core principle. The most important thing for winning in the stock market is to know yourself well, to know what you are good at and what you are not good at. And here's the critical part. It's not just knowing your weaknesses, it's making that disciplined choice not to do what you are not good at. Instead, choosing to concentrate on what you are good at. It's just this intense, radical focus.
And that raises a really important question for all of us, doesn't it? Are we sometimes trying too hard to be good at everything? And in doing so, we actually dilute our real strengths. There's definitely a societal pressure, to be well-rounded, competent everywhere, fill all the gaps on your resume sort of thing. But Testu's approach, which might seem odd at first, suggests that real mastery, consistent success, it comes from a relentless focus on your unique edge. Even if that means consciously deciding not to work on areas where you're less naturally gifted. It's about finding your personal unfair advantage, just hammering away at that instead of spreading yourself thin, trying to be okay at everything.
Yeah, that idea really clicked for me with this fantastic analogy Yuki Murrell uses in the article. They compare Testu's whole philosophy to Michael Jordan, the basketball legend, which, isn't the first comparison that jumps to mind, but it illustrates this self-awareness thing perfectly. Listen to what Jordan himself said about his game. It's so relevant here. I'll read it word for word from the source. My three-point shooting is something that I don't want to excel at because it takes away from all phases of my game, Jordan said. My game is a fake drive to the hole, penetrate, dish off, dunk, whatever. When you have that mentality, as I found out in the first game of making threes, you don't go to the hole as much. You go to the three-point line and you start sitting there waiting for someone to find you. That's not my mentality. I don't want to create that because it takes away my other parts of my game.
The parallel is just crystal clear there, isn't it? Between Testu and Jordan. Both of them understood that chasing a different skill, even one that seems valuable on the surface, like three-pointers for Jordan or fundamental analysis for Testu Tumaya, could actually weaken or compromise their core strength, their unique winning strategy. For Jordan, his dominance came from attacking the basket, forcing defenses to react, creating chaos inside. For Testu, it's that lightning-fast reading of price action. They both realized that adding something new instead of making them better overall might actually pull them away from the very thing that made them legends. It's about protecting that core advantage, not getting distracted by shiny objects, even if they look like valuable skills.
It's really tough to stick to your guns like that, though, isn't it? Especially when, like the article says, many people say many different things. There's always pressure to add more skills or do things the right way or what everyone else thinks is best. Yuki Murrell points out this common trap. People who are natural price action types trying hard to get better at analysis skills. Maybe just because they don't want to be seen as fools or they feel they're missing out somehow. But often that just leads to failure because they're moving away from what they're actually good at. It takes real courage, I think, not to chase every single potential improvement, but instead to double down on what already works for you, trusting your own process.
It really is an amazing quality, that unwavering conviction you see in people who stick to their methods, regardless of criticism or outside noise. And it's not just being stubborn. It's rooted in that deep, informed self-awareness. It lets them filter out distractions and just focus on their winning formula. They get that their unique approach, even if it looks weird to others, is their superpower. It's not about being a jack of all trades for them. It's about being a master of their specific trade.
And this is where it gets really interesting. Yukimura even uses these Japanese baseball analogies, like tornado pitching and pendulum batting, just to illustrate this idea of sticking with a unique, effective style, even if it's totally unconventional. Not the textbook approach. Tornado pitching. That was Hideo Nomo's famous wind-up, right? Where he'd twist his whole body around, looked really strange, but incredibly effective. And pendulum batting, that refers to Ichiro Suzuki's distinctive little swing preparation. Both were super successful, but definitely defied traditional coaching methods. It just highlights that success doesn't always fit the standard mold. It's about finding your edge and owning it.
And that's exactly how Testu manages to win, consistently, year after year. As Yukimura sums it up, doesn't matter how the market changes or what new trends pop up, Testu's real power isn't necessarily in adapting to every little shift or mastering every new skill. It comes from that unwavering self-alignment, that deep self-knowledge, and the iron discipline to just operate within his zone of genius. It's really a powerful testament to knowing yourself and having the guts to act on that knowledge.
Okay, so as we kind of wrap up this deep dive into Testu's philosophy, what are the big takeaways? We've seen this incredible mastery of cutting losses, that almost precognitive ability to ditch bad positions before they really hurt, saving himself so much pain down the line. We've explored his profound self-awareness, knowing his strengths, knowing his weaknesses, and crucially, having the courage to stick to his unique winning game, respecting what he does best despite all the external noise or temptations to change.
Right. And knowledge is really only valuable when you understand it and can apply it, isn't it? Testim really shows us that wisdom often lies just as much in knowing what not to do as knowing what to do. And then having the discipline, the self-control to act on that self-knowledge. His story is just a powerful reminder that sometimes, the greatest strength isn't in adding more skills, but in focusing intensely on what makes you uniquely effective. It's a real lesson in self-mastery.
Which leaves us with a final, maybe provocative thought for you listening right now. What three-point shot are you currently trying to master? Is it possible it might actually be distracting you from your true innate strengths, your drive to the hole, so to speak? Or put it another way, where might you be resisting that wisdom of cutting your losses? Maybe it's a project, an idea, even a habit, something that's holding you back, but you're hesitating to let go because, well, it feels hard or uncomfortable. Definitely something to mull over. Thanks so much for joining us on this exploration into the remarkable mind of Testumi. We really hope these insights are useful, maybe far beyond just finance. Join us next time for another deep dive.